So Sean Diddy Combs' accuser drops major lawsuit claim against Beyonce, Jay-Z over male part mask freak-off party. It says a man who sued Sean Diddy Combs for allegedly doing something to him in 2015 at a party while Jay-Z and Beyonce were present is now claiming the married couple was never actually there.
We almost lost things. And for her to say, I'm going to talk about my pain and anger at you, what were those conversations like?
Again, it didn't happen in that way. It happened, we were using our art almost like a therapy session, and we started making music together. Mm-hmm. And then the music she was making at that time was further along. So her album came out as opposed to the joint album that we were working on. Mm-hmm. We still have a lot of that music. And this is what it became. There was never a point where it was like, I'm making this album. I was there. Right. I was right there the entire time.
And what was her reaction to your work, and what was your reaction to hers? They must have caused, I think, they were pain both, for each of you, right?
Of course. And both very, very uncomfortable, but sitting in that, the best place in the, hurricane is like in the middle of it.
Yeah.
We were sitting in the eye of that hurricane. Maybe not use hurricane because so many people are being affected right now, but the best place is right in the middle of the pain.
Right.
And that's where we were sitting, and it was uncomfortable. And it's a lot of conversations, and really proud of the music she made, and she was really proud of the art I released. And, at the end of the day, we really have a healthy respect for one another's craft. Mm-hmm. I think she's amazing. Right. Most people walk away and like divorce rate is like 50% or something because most people can't see themselves. The hardest thing is seeing pain on someone's face that you caused and then have to deal with yourself.
Yeah.
Jay-Z has revealed cracks in his relationship with Diddy, exposing tension, power struggles, and uneasy alliances beneath the fame. Whispers hint at betrayals and rivalries ready to erupt. Even celebrated collaborations now carry a shadow, making their story one of the most chilling narratives in hip-hop today.
Since Combs was indicted by federal prosecutors last fall, these parties he was known for hosting and what celebrities may have attended has been the subject of intense scrutiny. But the blast radius around the star had been relatively contained until now.
Now, I bet you want to know why Jay-Z and Beyonce's name keep popping up around the whole Diddy thing. Well, that's why I'm here. Now, first thing you got to know is when somebody like Diddy gets taken down, things always start out as a rumor. Diddy has had rumors floating around for like decades. Well, Jay-Z had a problem. He's right there in the corner, by the way. Jay-Z has had a few rumors himself, but more like speculation. People see Jay-Z in a picture of R. Kelly. They're like, I guess they both make music. Then Jay-Z with Harvey Weinstein. People are like, I guess they both do business. Then, of course, Jay-Z with Diddy. Now, hold on. Here's the thing.
I loved Jay-Z because in his lyrics...
To be clear, he's been emphatic in all his denials. Let's be clear.
Wait, I also want to be clear. On the Jay-Z recent stuff, I don't believe it. Right. I looked into that case, and I actually don't believe it.
A lot of holes in it.
Yeah, that one doesn't pass the sniff test for me. But in terms of his relationship with Diddy, I would expect him to make some sort of a statement because, like I said, he is overtly political. So I just want people to keep the same energy.
It all began with a lawsuit that suddenly thrust Jay-Z into a stormy spotlight, casting shadows over the music world. Allegations emerged surrounding an incident after the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards, naming both Jay-Z and Diddy in connection to a serious claim from a young woman at the time. The case sent shockwaves through the industry, adding tension to an already complicated dynamic between two of hip-hop's most influential figures.
Against P. Diddy, the baby oil billionaire, one of the most vile individuals in music industry history, has been getting more and more horrible things about it coming to light. It would take hours to go over every crime he's accused of. It is a list that goes on, filled with the most awful, unimaginable things possible. It would be easier to talk about crimes he isn't accused of committing. Like, he probably started dying and dashing just for the sake of adding more crimes to his resume. And today we received some new information with one of the many celebrities that associated with P. Diddy over the years, Jay-Z, who is now accused in a civil lawsuit of a 13-year-old at an after party with P. Diddy and an unnamed female celebrity who was there watching. P. Diddy party list is a lot like the Epstein list in terms of rich and powerful people that attended them. And a lot of people, myself included, have wondered if these names will ever even see the light of day because they have the means of burying it potentially. But luckily, that doesn't seem to be the case here now that Jay-Z has been named. But they should all be named, and hopefully they will over the course of this case. Make like a game of guess who and name them. Because the happen at these parties is terrible, horrible, just deplorable. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we learned that P. Diddy threw a party where they dug up Jeffrey Dahmer's corpse and paraded around Weekend at Bernie's style or something. Like, the things that have reportedly happened there are things that everyone associated needs to face consequences for. And now Jay-Z is the first one that has been.
The allegations sent shockwaves, not because everyone believed it, but because of the sheer gravity of the claim. Jay-Z denied the accusations, and the lawsuit was eventually dismissed, yet the impact lingered. His name had been thrust into a storm of serious controversy, casting a long shadow over his reputation and fueling the tension between two of hip-hop's biggest power players.
We got a lot of rappers here. That's right. Jay-Z, Jigga, the Jigga Man, Jigga what? Jigga who? Jigga in the club, that's who. And how could you mention rap without talking about my man P. Diddy? P. Diddy, Sean John, Sean Puppet Cone. Got in a little bit of trouble this year, huh, Pup? Got in some trouble. Went out and hired Johnny Cochran. Actually, you didn't hire Johnny Cochran, you just sampled OJ's defense.
From there, the situation escalated quickly. Jay-Z's team reported that his family, including Beyoncé and their children, began receiving threats, showing just how high-profile and unforgiving the fallout could be. Even after being legally cleared, the shadow of controversy was impossible to shake. Meanwhile, Diddy faced his own storm, with multiple lawsuits piling up, each one heavier than the last, exposing intense scrutiny and secrets that had long stayed behind closed doors, turning the world of two hip-hop giants into a tense, high-stakes battleground.
As a close friend of Jay-Z, what was your reaction to him opening up about his infidelities in the Family Feud video?
Yeah. I mean, that's what music gives you the power to do. And I think that, once you're ready to share it with your fans in the world, then nobody could judge it. They have to accept what it is. And I thought it was dope.
Were you surprised?
No.
Did he put it out there?
No, I wasn't. I was surprised about Lemonade, but I wasn't surprised about.
You were. Why were you surprised about Lemonade?
I mean, I just didn't see it coming. It was just like, I mean, it was a Sunday, and it was just like, whoa.
Right. You didn't see the album coming, or you didn't see what was in it coming?
I didn't see anything. I think like the rest of the world, and I think it was genius. I think Beyonce did a great job, and she tackled something that a lot of women have had to go through, and also Jay on the other side, he did what he had to do, and most importantly, their family stayed tight and together, and they were able to weather the storm, and that's a shining example of a couple that stays together through the good and the bad.
Now Diddy sits in a federal detention center in Brooklyn awaiting trial, but as the lawsuits stacked up, more names surfaced, including Jay-Z and Beyoncé, sparking questions about whether Jay was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, or entangled deeper in Diddy's world than anyone realized. One claim in particular drew attention. Manzaro Joseph alleged that Jay-Z and Beyoncé attended a 2015 birthday party for Diddy's son, but it wasn't just any celebration. According to the lawsuit, the event was a secretive, chaotic gathering full of high-profile guests and hidden excesses, shining a spotlight on a side of the hip-hop elite few had ever seen.
Like some kind of mob boss, and get people to tell people to shut up, or I'll pay you if you shut up, and be effective.
Look, I don't know how real that is. I think, when you're in jail, I think you should also know how to move and not do stupid stuff like that. I think a lot of the stories are becoming out of control and super extreme. Again, you start one way, and then as it builds, there's thousands of people coming in, creating a new narrative. And when you do your research or your due diligence on it, a lot of it doesn't come back real. So now you're stuck in a position to go, is any of it real, or how much of it is real? And I think that's where we are now, because they just keep piling on and on and on. And now everybody's starting to feel weird about it and starting to feel like it's all starting to look like it's one-sided against one man. And people aren't liking it.
Diddy was just finally arrested, which is probably a good thing, and they also searched his home. What they found in his home, though, is just unfathomable. They found a lot of things, including narcotics and firearms, but what really stood out to me was the fact that they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. To top it off, it was reported that these items were allegedly used in, quote, freak-offs. I don't even want to know what a freak-off is. Anyways, 1,000 bottles of anything in someone's home is something I just never thought I would hear, unless it's in like a middle school math question, but I'm shocked, to say the least. Hopefully this guy never gets out, because if he does, I'd be surprised.
Jay-Z's team hit back hard, proving that he and Beyoncé weren't even in Miami that day, with flight logs, public schedules, and receipts to back it up. Their names were eventually cleared from the lawsuit, but in the world of headlines, the damage lingers. Once a name is out there, people often remember the accusation more than the retraction. For celebrities like Jay-Z and Beyoncé, every claim is magnified, and social media went into overdrive. Fans and theorists on Reddit and TikTok started connecting dots, speculating about what really happened, imagining secret deals and hidden moves, and turning the entire saga into one of the most talked about stories in the music world.
With Diddy now facing the scrutiny of a federal investigation, it's only natural that fans are taking a magnifying glass to every little detail of Diddy's friendship with Beyoncé and Jay-Z. Turns out Beyoncé is facing some pretty eyebrow-raising accusations lately. I'm talking about everything from claims of sabotaging other black female artists to allegations of her dabbling in witchcraft. And guess what? These accusations aren't just popping up out of nowhere. They're coming from people who were once in Beyoncé's circles. Let's talk about Kimberly Thompson, Beyoncé's former drummer. Back in 2018, she shook things up by dropping a bombshell accusation claiming that Beyoncé was knee-deep in what she described as extreme witchcraft. Thompson even filed for a restraining order against Beyoncé, claiming that she was using spells and magic to mess with her even after she moved to another city to escape.
Of course, none of this has been officially confirmed, no documents, no statements, but in today's world, the internet doesn't wait for facts. One viral post, one trending thread, and suddenly the court of public opinion is in full swing. Then came another lawsuit, this one from a woman identified as Jane Doe, claiming that back in 2000 she was taken to an after-party hosted by Diddy, where she alleged misconduct occurred, with Jay-Z once again named in the accusations. The claims sent ripples through social media, fueling speculation and keeping the tension between these hip-hop icons at a boiling point.
But we're beginning here on our 10 o'clock news with a breaking story. That assault lawsuit made public tonight. A woman is accusing rapper and media mogul Jay-Z of drugging and her in the year 2000 when she was just 13 years old. The civil suit was originally filed against Sean Diddy Combs, who the woman says is the same party following the Video Music Awards in 2000. The woman alleges she began to feel woozy after having a drink. She wandered into a bedroom where she claims Jay-Z her first, then Combs. In a statement tonight, Jay-Z called the allegations, quote, heinous in nature, that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. And we'll, of course, have more on this story as it develops.
She describes the exact assault, what happened. She talks about various stages of things that occurred. And I think that this is good because this way it can either be corroborated or not corroborated. So she's painted herself in a corner.
Why add Jay-Z now if this originally was filed back in October? Why not do it then?
Very interesting question. I think, we're seeing the same attorney for many of these complainants. And I think we're going to see more and more people added. I think there's a lot that they were looking to prove, and maybe they didn't quite have what they thought they needed to file against Jay-Z initially.
So Jay-Z is responding after Tony Busby and his client, Jane Doe, have dismissed the lawsuit where she claims that Diddy and Jay-Z harmed her, SA'd her when she was only 13 years old. So you may remember this lawsuit. It was originally filed back in October. However, in December, they added Jay-Z's name as an unidentified celebrity. As you know, Jay-Z and Tony Busby had a back and forth in the court system, Jay-Z on the Roc Nation account. Well, now on the Roc Nation account, Jay-Z is responding to this dismissal. Jay-Z says, "Today is a victory. The frivolous, fictitious, and appalling allegations have been dismissed. The civil suit was without merit and never going anywhere. The fictional tale they created was laughable, if not for the seriousness of the claims. I would not wish this experience on anyone. The trauma that my wife, Beyonce, my children, loved ones, and I have endured can never be dismissed." He says this 1-800 lawyer gets to file a suit hiding behind Jane Doe, and when they quickly realize that the money grab is going to fail, they get to walk away with no repercussions. The system has failed. He continues, he says, "The court must protect victims, of course, while with the same ethical responsibility, courts must protect the innocent from being accused without a shred of evidence. May the truth prevail for all victims and those falsely accused equally. Sean Carter." Diddy's attorneys also released their own statement in regards to this lawsuit being voluntarily dismissed with prejudice, meaning that they can't refile this lawsuit against these two.
Jay-Z and his legal team acted immediately, labeling the lawsuit not only false but dangerous, calling it fiction that undermined real victims of abuse. Ultimately, the case was dropped with prejudice, meaning the accuser cannot bring it again. A legal end that should have closed the chapter entirely.
You were telling us that the accuser in the civil suit dismissed the lawsuit with prejudice, which means they can't file it again. Do we know why?
Well, it's going away entirely, and they did not give a reason. But the defense for Jay-Z and for Sean Combs had said there were glaring inconsistencies in the then 13-year-old's account, which supposedly this took place at the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. Her father had driven her to the location. The father then said he didn't really remember doing that, so that there weren't enough facts to establish what she alleged, even though at first her attorneys stood by her until just this past Friday.
Now, in a statement, Jay-Z said in part, "The trauma that my wife, my children, loved ones, and I have endured can never be dismissed." Is there any chance that he takes some sort of legal recourse here?
We haven't heard that he is going to do anything more with regard to this lawsuit, but his attorney has certainly threatened to impose sanctions against the plaintiff's attorney. That effort may go away now that the lawsuit has been dropped, but Jay-Z has said even in other legal filings that he suffered financial harm, that he suffered, certainly as the statement reflects, emotional harm because of the allegations, and of all the lawsuits against Combs in particular, this one may have been the most difficult because the allegation involved a woman who says she was 13 at the time.
Interesting is Puff also issued a statement. Puff charges have been dropped too, because the case was dropped against Puff and against Jay, and on this particular case, and Puff is basically like, see, people be lying. This is another example of these cases coming out used against me to lie. So while this case is false, it seems Puffy is using it as an excuse to kind of say, look, everybody's after me, this is wrong. So I think it's unfair to even mention Puff during the whole segment. But they were grouped together. I think it's important to note that this is why it's interesting, because Jay is innocent of this, and I believe Puff is innocent of this one. But it's interesting to see how that plays into the rest of his cases in terms of the court of public opinion.
But in the court of public opinion, the controversy only grew. People began questioning why Jay-Z's name kept surfacing, why he seemed constantly near the center of chaos. Even if the lawsuits didn't hold up legally, the pattern fueled endless speculation, while Beyonce stayed completely silent, letting the storm swirl around them both.
seems to be Jay-Z being attacked in the elevator by Beyonce's sister Solange. It's leading on all the newscasts. Of course, it's a hot topic here, but it's amazing how the world has let go of everything else important and is talking about this. She is kicking his behind. And the security guard's trying to hold her back. Beyonce's next to Jay-Z in the corner. And I know you've seen this footage before, and you know that Beyonce waited a long time before she stepped in between them. Yes, she almost kicked him in his area, but he caught it. This was at, as you might know by now, the after party to the Met Gala. It was at a place here in Manhattan called the Standard Hotel. The hotel is upset because the footage even got out, because this is supposed to be a place that caters to celebrities. But who falls for that? You know, of course, this footage probably made somebody rich. The only thing that would make somebody richer is the person who's got the audio. Okay, so now, you know, I will just say that the people have been speculating and saying, well, why didn't Beyonce get in the middle? In my mind, Beyonce didn't get in the middle because Solange was probably attacking him over something that he knows he was dead wrong about, and therefore, sister didn't get in the middle.
No social media posts, no interviews, no subtle signals, just silence from Beyonce. Some fans view it as a calculated move, letting lawyers manage the noise while she shields her image, while others speculate it's strategic, possibly distancing herself from Jay-Z to protect her own empire. That uncertainty fueled endless theories online. Eventually, Jay-Z had to respond. Through his lawyers, he called the accusations outright lies, highlighting the devastating emotional toll on his wife and children. He also pointed out a modern reality, how easy it has become to file a public lawsuit, generate headlines, and tarnish someone's name with little consequence. Jay-Z made it clear he isn't backing down. He is fighting every false claim and defending both his legacy and his family.
Could be the case. Is this the kind of thing that we're looking at down the line potentially?
I'm glad you asked that question, because I want to distinguish between what we're seeing right now, Stephen A., with the Jay-Z situation and what we saw in the Diddy situation. There, as you mentioned, raid on his home, lengthy investigation, even the charges, talking about a criminal enterprise, his companies and all that, not only involved in making records, but having this criminal enterprise with these freak-offs. I would not connect, I'd be loath right now to connect the P. Diddy case with Jay-Z. And for one really big reason, and then other smaller reasons. The big reason is, in the Diddy Combs case, they're arguing that he set up this entire criminal enterprise. And part of this enterprise were these freak-offs. That's not being suggested in the Jay-Z case. The Jay-Z case is suggesting, at least the accusation is, he was at this party that P. Diddy was throwing, and that there was a sexual assault that occurred, and that Jay-Z committed it. Completely different circumstances, completely different situation. Do I know if it could go there and something could happen? We don't know at this point. As you said, we don't know enough information about that right now. But that's a big difference. The other difference is here, you talked about should he be fearful. I would say there has to be concern. And the reason there has to be concern is, and we talked about this when we talked about the Diddy case, we talked about the idea that there were all these people involved. Even in the Jane Doe's case with Jay-Z, she claims that she runs out and nobody did anything. One of the things U.S. attorneys said when they were doing the Diddy case was, when they made that big announcement, P. Diddy has been arrested, they made the point of, our investigation is ongoing. They are not stopping. That was not the end of it. So why I think Jay-Z should be concerned, he's saying he didn't do anything, and on its face, let's assume that's the case. Why he should be concerned is being involved in the orbit that is P. Diddy, being involved in the orbit of this situation.
Really work through it and really be honest. And no matter how many times, it takes a while. It's hard. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to hear, difficult to say. It's difficult to, to listen to that sort of pain. And you just have to be strong enough. You have to be strong enough to go through that, because on the other side is beautiful. In our case,
that's a level of strength really on both sides. I mean, if the shoe had been on the other foot, if the transgressions had been on her side, do you think you would be able to be as forgiving of her as she was of you?
I hope. Again, because I love her the same way. No matter what side, I love her the same way. I pray that I will, because her strength and her man.
But the problem is, no matter how fiercely you fight, once your name is tied to a storm like this, victory in court doesn't fully clear the air. It's not just about lawsuits or rumors, it's about trust, reputation, and a marriage that has long stood as a symbol of power, success, and unity. Jay-Z and Beyoncé have built a billion-dollar empire together, but with Diddy's world unraveling and lawsuits dragging their names into the headlines, even that legacy feels slightly unsettled.
When you see the new lawsuit coming with Jay, the part with Jay, I go, oh shoot, like. Then I think about it, I go, that had to be there. So when I was saying that he was missing, he just wasn't actively being out there because they was dealing with that.
Wait, do you think there's truth to the Jay thing? There's no way.
Know, like that, look, like if you say, I have this thing where I'm conflicted when it takes you 20 years to remember something happened to you.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I go, oh, so 10 years, 20 years later, that comes back. And it's like all of the problems are coming from the ministers touching little boys.
What you mean?
The laws are the way they are because because
of the priests.
The priests touching little boys.
Oh. Why are we looking at me, bro? I just go to church. I just go to church, right? I have nothing to do with this. I have an alibi.
That's why the laws allow me to go that far back.
Turn away from you right there. I'm just a Catholic kid. Why?
You've been diddled, dude.
No. What's the body of Christ taste like? That's sacrilegious. You can't do that.
He's like, yo, drink my blood.
So it is crazy when after 20 years they come at that. Pal.
But with Puffy, you were the only one saying anything for decades.
Yeah, because we had our own little thing.
But you were the only. Everybody else is scared.
Huh?
But everybody else is scared. So you think maybe this is a similar thing where everybody else is scared? I don't know what it is. I'm just asking.
I think they're scared.
But if they're scared, then maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Insinuating Jay-Z a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you've been saying people gonna come for him a little bit.
No, I thought he would do funky stuff like the Super Bowl. Like it was not okay for me to be at the Super Bowl.
Oh, he tried to cut that.
Yeah, he didn't want me to. Well, they worked to make like there was an issue with me in the NFL that doesn't exist.
So he did the corporate way of trying to keep you down. Oh, it's not me, it's them.
It's them.
Fans are divided. Some see Beyoncé as playing it smart, protecting herself, while others believe she's quietly standing by Jay-Z behind the scenes. A few even speculate that their marriage has shifted more toward a business alliance than a personal partnership. Whatever the reality, the fallout is already in motion. With Diddy's court dates looming, the story is far from over. Is Jay-Z simply caught in the crossfire of Diddy's troubles, or is there more happening behind the scenes? And what about Beyoncé's silence, strategy, caution, or something else entirely? Only time will tell, but the drama continues to grip the music world.